Check out yesterday, by the way, the Dow closing up nearly 400 points. But I'll tell you, if you were watching the evening news, you would have had no idea about that. But you remember earlier in the month when we had tough days? Down days in the market? Well, you know, all for evening newscasts. You know those. I don't know if anybody really watches them anymore. I used to work for one, actually two of them. And I don't think anybody really watches them anymore. They say they do, but I'm not entirely sure about that. They still kind of hold this standard. Well, they devoted 23 minutes to the sell-off that you saw. But in the last 2 weeks, when the markets have actually been doing really well, we're talking 38 seconds. That's how much time they spend on good news. Joining me right now, Bell Point Chief Strategist David Nelson and media reporter for TheHill.com, Joe Concha. Joe, we're going to get to the media in a second, but let me start first with David, because he is an investor. And as an investor, you care. As an American, you care whether the market is up or the market is down. Politics aside, and however much the evening news broadcasts may not want to report on good news for this economy, isn't this actually important to know about?
It's important to know about, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you live on. You know, you probably have a 401k. It's certainly important. The economy, it's very important. It's important to your job. And it's not surprising that the media does this. It doesn't fit into their agenda. I get that. Every station has their own DNA. But you hit it on the head. I mean, the market was up 400 points. They barely covered it. The market goes down 1,500 points. It dominates the news cycle. So it's just the unfortunate part of the mainstream media.
Now, part of that is, you know, it's a little bit of the plane crash scenario, right? When the market's down 1,500, if it bleeds, it leads. And that's a little bit, unfortunately, for the mainstream media and certainly these evening news shows, bad news is news that they think people will turn into. That said, I think there's something else going on as well, Joe, and that is that the Democrats have no policy. And they would be wise to find some. I would encourage them to find some, because economic policy does matter and has an effect on our overall economy. And I think, as Jerome Powell is pointing out, what we have seen since December out of the White House will turn into economic growth, or should at least, I guess he hedged a bit, turn into economic growth. Yet the media, if you think about how left many members of the media are, they don't necessarily want to report on that economic growth, do they?
Can I answer your question with a question, Trish?
You always do that. Go for it.
I know. That's true. It's a habit. What was Hillary Clinton's economic message, or the Democratic's message, in the 2016 election? Because I don't know what it was exactly. I guess maybe level the playing field or something. But what do you think it was? Because I think it was, remember, and we cover this stuff.
Take from Peter to pay Paul. I mean, I think it was income inequality. But that's also the message of the Republicans right now. I hate that term, income inequality, because, you know, we have worse income inequality than Bangladesh. I mean, everybody's basically equal and poor in Bangladesh, so it's not the perfect term. But it is this sense of, you know, you can't get ahead in America anymore, and we need to fix it. It's the hourglass economy, Joe, that I talk about. I think both parties understood that, but one party or one candidate had a solution and the other didn't. And I think that the media, you know that the majority of them are sort of in the left side of things and not entirely fair and don't entirely understand economics. And perhaps that's why they don't want to report on, say, tax cuts as being good.
Right. And Donald Trump had a message, particularly to those in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, the blue wall that came down. We're going to keep your jobs here. We're going to keep companies from leaving. We're going to give you tax breaks so your wages go up, so there's more money in your paychecks and you don't have to work twice as hard just to make the same amount of money. And Hillary Clinton, for the life of me, I still don't know exactly what her message was, and that's the trick. And that's the same thing, the 2018 elections. To your point around the evening news, a lot of people do still watch, about 25 million between CBS, ABC,
I don't know
NBC.
any of them.
Joe hits on an important point.
You're
because
in the cable news world.
Yeah, no, but, you know, it's actually I was just down in Nashville, Tennessee, and I was stopped repeatedly in the airport and in the hotel. My father was traveling with me, so I think he got a real kick out of it. Now, when I worked for the evening news shows, that never happened. I did get stopped once in a funeral parlor up in Buffalo, New York, but that was about it, which tells me, for whatever reason, cable certainly resonates in a way and has more power than perhaps the
I think Joe hits on an important
shows.
point. This rally, this economy right now, it's not just about Wall Street anymore. It's about Main Street. It wasn't just Wall Street that got an earnings bump. Main Street is getting an earnings bump, and it's actually starting to poll better. And behind closed doors, there are some Democrats actually going, what if this Trump guy actually pulls it off and can pull off this economy and actually accelerate it? As we head into the midterms, that could change the dynamic.
It sure could, but I think this is why the Democrats keep going back to the well of racism, sexism, because no one wants a racist in the White House.
Well, you go back to identity politics because it's the only thing that works for you.
It's identity, yeah, as opposed to policy. And policy is actually what is going to change people's lives in all of this, Joe. But
it always does.
It's more complicated.
Yeah, and in terms of media, yeah, it's complicated, but it's not that complicated then again. If you get out of your ivory towers of the media capitals of New York and Washington and actually go to those flyover states in the Rust Belt and actually interview people and say, is it really real on the ground? Are you getting bonuses? Are you getting wages back higher than you did before? I want to see more reporting like that, and I'm just not seeing it because it's lazy otherwise, and people got to get out of New York and Washington and get to the flyover states and talk to people instead of pontificating to them.
I hear you. I would also just point out, I remember as an evening news correspondent, the producers were like, oh, no, we got to work with Trish because we could talk about the Fed and tax policy, and I'd get all excited, and they're like, how can you stand this stuff? I love it because this is what matters. Good to see you, Joe.